Welcome back,
Okay.
everybody, to Sims Complete.
Wow.
Matt Sims, Phil Sims here. We've had technical difficulties. We've had a snafu to start the show. Big Phil, how you doing,
Well,
man? How's everything?
hey,
Did you have your
listen.
coffee this morning, man?
Yeah, I did. Listen, it was a long night last night. We might do a little podcast on that with the Giants celebration.
Yes.
100 years in existence. That was
Right.
great. So, yeah, I did get to bed late, but I'm not going to go into detail. One, you're right. Technically, we're having problems. And the other thing
Yes,
is, you were talking about one conference or one division, and I was talking about an entirely different one. And I said, okay, we got to stop. I'm what the hell's wrong with me? So let's try this again. The NFC West is what we want to talk about.
Yes, it is.
And I was talking about what?
I really appreciate, though, the fact that here I am, going on this tangent, talking about the number 4 ranked quarterback in the NFC West. And clearly you're not listening to a damn word that I'm saying. So I really appreciate you're really tuning in here.
No, I was listening and I just think, what the hell are you talking about? You're wrong. Whatever. So the NFC West. Yeah, I know it was bad, but I hope I don't want to see this somewhere like you think it's funny. No, it was beyond. It wasn't even funny. It was downright really bad.
Yeah, and the funny thing is I bring it up to you, and you're like, well, you're looking at me like, what? You're crazy. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah.
God Almighty. Man, it's true. Age is undefeated. So
my cheeks are hurting.
Okay, here we go. You ready? Yeah. NFC West. Let's talk about the quarter. Now, I want to clarify this.
Yeah.
Are we talking about like who's played the best, who we think we would like if we were coaching a team? How are we ranking this? Because I think it's two different things.
Let's do it this way, right? I mean, how would you have these 4 quarterbacks ranked on your depth chart if it was one team? Right. That's how I would say it. Right.
Oh, that's interesting. Right? With their talent, what we've seen, everything
with what
like
they've
that.
done. Yeah. I throw in a little bit of just their surrounding cast and all that kind of stuff just to kind of give everyone, the opinion of saying that, hey, this group will probably be better than what we're maybe projecting, the potential for this group too, especially because, some guys are going to be playing with like exciting rookies. There's also some contract things going on with other teams, new offensive coordinators. But if we had one team, right, let's just say the NFC West was one football team, how would we rank 1 through 4 on our depth chart?
Okay, what's your 4 on the go ahead. What's your 4 on the depth chart? We'll start there.
And it's interesting too because I think to offensive coordinator wise me, and I'm like, oh man, I could do a lot of fun stuff with this group, right? And really do a lot of fun offensive plays. But number 4 for me is Kyler Murray. All right. The Arizona Cardinals quarterback. I think he's a guy that, like in our little snafu we did a few minutes ago, we can see all of the talent, right? We know that he is athletic. We know that he can make plays outside the pocket. We know that he's electrifying with his feet. Sometimes I think his size and presence in the pocket is a detriment to him where he can't just stand there and rip it and be big and strong and powerful in the pocket. So his style of play, it obviously has to adjust to that, right? His arm is powerful at times. His arm length, I feel like, is a detriment to him where the ball gets away from him. He loses control of the football sometimes because he does have that longer motion compared to most quarterbacks or the high-profile quarterbacks that we've discussed through this.
Yeah, just to interrupt you real quick. But
go ahead.
You said it to me earlier until we screwed things up. I'd start over. But baseball players that are quarterbacks sometimes do have longer motions because the baseball throwing motion can be long and beneficial, where in football, it can not the opposite, but it's close to it. It can be detrimental to you. Ball fall out of your hand, maybe not come out right, not connected, all those things. So keep going, though. Make a lot of good points.
Yeah, I mean, I think the skill group, like we've discussed here, every quarterback has a good skill group now, right? It really is amazing when you kind of look through the list here. Like, yes, this solid skill group. I mean, is it maybe a top 10er, a top 15 in the league? No, but Marvin Harrison Jr., we expect big things from him, the first-round pick. Greg Dortch, really solid receiver. Michael Wilson showed impressive things. Zay Jones is another impressive receiver as well. To go along, too, with Trey Benson, the rookie running back, from Florida State, who's a big, strong, powerful guy with James Conner there in the backfield. So they have a lot of exciting pieces, and now it really is just up to Jonathan Gannon and this coaching staff, 1 full year now with a healthy Kyler Murray, right? To
that's
really
interesting.
help him build himself up again, into this lottery pick of quarterback.
Well, you made a lot of great points about Kyler Murray and everything. Yes, now he's going to have a whole year being healthy, we hope, and he's going to have training camp. He had off season. You talked about the people around him. Can Marvin Harrison be really? They need him to be special as a rookie, I think, this year. And you said it earlier, until I screwed up, we had to start over. But Trey McBride, the tight end, wow, did he come out of nowhere to me last year? And he wasn't good. He was really, really good. So to see the offense change, be more creative than it was before, all that, and I'm saying a lot of nice things about the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray, and that's why I don't have him as fourth as a quarterback. This is not fun for me, but Geno Smith is who I have at number 4.
Wow.
And, yeah, I know.
Geno at number 4.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I'm kind of going on what's going to happen this year and looking forward, and I think finally Kyler Murray has grown up to be a pro's pro and to take charge of the team. I really have a lot of confidence in that, because I saw a lot of things with him, with the coaching staff, with their football team. Do they still lack that overall talent to be great? Yes. But, and Geno, hey, it's so close. And I'm being honest, I'm not doing this to disagree with you.
Yeah.
But Geno, it was a different year last year.
Right.
And really just for this reason. Everybody, the Seahawks need to draft a quarterback. They're going to draft a quarterback. And shut up. No, they're not. I mean, why would they do that? They're trying to build their team. Don't confuse the thing by trying to draft somebody in the first round or who you think. I mean, the year before it was Anthony Richardson. Oh, they want Anthony Richardson. And
right.
So it wears me out. But the biggest problem they had last year, they couldn't protect a quarterback worth a damn.
Yeah.
And I don't care what the stats say. You played quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks last year. You took a beating. Even Drew Lock, when he came in, he played as well as I've seen him play. He was tough, but he took a beating too. So they got that great receiving core. It's there for Seattle. But the most important thing, that offensive line just isn't living up to the billing of those high draft picks and getting it done. So that's why I put Geno fourth. That was hard for me, because I like Geno Smith a lot. And I have really his whole career. And you and I have talked about it. You were with him with the Jets, and he grew up, and he's turned into definitely a bona fide franchise quarterback. And if they fix that offensive line, I expect him to have a good year. But I got Geno Smith at number 4.
Okay, so we switched these, right? I have Geno 3, Kyler 4. You have Kyler 3. You have Geno 4. I want to go back to something that you said earlier, though, that I thought was interesting. So do you think that Jonathan Gannon is going to have a similar effect on Kyler Murray, the same way that like a Dan Campbell had on Jared Goff, as far as, maturing into a great leader and kind of that guy to kind of take over the team, because of that leadership from the head coach?
Absolutely. I watched Jonathan Gannon on the sideline, and, a couple times in games real close, and because, I don't know him and whatever, but yeah, there's no doubt. When you see their team, you listen to what's said and all that, he's in charge. Right. And he's not going to be afraid of Kyler Murray, like, oh, I got to treat him with kid gloves. That's not going to happen. He's going to treat him like you treat a big-time frontline franchise quarterback, and I think that's the way they expect him to play. And I just get that feeling, just reading what you can and piecing it together, that the Cardinals, I don't think they're going to be a great team this year, but I feel really confident Kyler Murray is going to be a different player and a different person with a different leader and a different offense, all that put together. Can't wait to see how it works out. So.
Yeah, I like that sentiment that you're going with here too. And I guess I'm more I need to see it before I believe it. And I think that's really more so too, just because, the facts, I think, behind the scenes and the conversations that people have about Kyler behind the scenes in the football world. And, some of that stuff kind of seems to keep pouring out right into the national media scene a little bit. It's one of those like, all right, that's great. I hope that he's working on it and getting better at it. Now, it's time to kind of show it, because I think, the skill and the talent is absolutely there. Now it really is like, let's see him be that leader that you're talking about, consistently. And that's where, for me, like, Geno's shown that, right?
Yeah,
Geno has already had that moment where he got thrown back up into the lineup, after, being the guy on the bench there for a long time. Even when he did get opportunities, they weren't ideal, right, for him to be successful. And, he's a guy that I think really, he's been through it. But now he is ready to take that leadership role, and he has taken that leadership role. And I think the team really feels that surrounds him, right?
Sure.
And I don't know if I quite see that yet with Kyler, but I'm hoping that's true, because that would be really exciting for him as an individual and also for Cardinal fans.
Yeah, let me say this. Geno did it 2 years ago when he took over. He was the man. He played great. He was an all-pro, and really nothing changed last year. He was still the same guy. Yeah. But his team let him down. And, he, I hate to say it this way, man, Geno was just, I got my chance. And the biggest thing is that we don't talk enough about. By God, he was tough as hell.
He was.
And, and that permeates through your whole football team.
Yeah.
And he did it. And last year, they betrayed him. Right. And with Kyler Murray, he hasn't done that yet. But that's what I feel like is coming. And everybody's still talking negative, Matt, but it's all the stuff that happened a couple years ago.
Right.
So, they're still bringing up the contract. Well, they put the stipulation in it and whatever. So, you and I talk about this all the time. And sooner or later, as a quarterback, you got to make your mind up that you're just going to be a tough old son bitch, and you're going to get in there. I don't know what else to say. And you're just not going to put up with anything, and it's going to work, because that's the only thought you have, is that it's going to work. So we'll see.
Yeah. And I like it. I think we're kind of seeing both of these players very similarly. Yeah. And I guess I'm just kind of giving Geno that notch because I've seen it and I believe in it. Right. And for Kyler, it's more of a projection, and I think listen, it's not a bad place to be in. This is a hell of a division. This is a really good division. I think Jonathan Gannon's the right guy. I mean, talk about a guy that was really able to kind of change the identity of a team really quickly. I mean, it seemed like early on in the year that they were in every damn football game in the late fourth quarter. So this guy knows how to make games ugly. He knows how to make them tough. And I think the Eagles definitely, missed him for sure because of the way that the Cardinals team was looking compared to how they were feeling and looking as the year went on. So really, really interesting. All right.
Once again, it shows you coaching is a big deal in the NFL. All right.
Oh yeah. It's everything.
So who do we got? We got 1 and 2 to go. Who's number 2 in the NFC West, my man?
I'm going to defer. I want to hear who you have at number 2 first, because this is where I went, are you kidding me when I saw this list? So please inform the fan base here.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2. I don't know why you said that, because I'm looking at my list. This will be interesting if we disagree here. My number 2 is Brock Purdy of the San Francisco 49ers.
That is BS. Is that what it says on your sheet there?
Read it.
Hold on. Go over there. No. You got Brock Purdy number 1 over there on the side of that sheet.
No, it says 2.
Are you sure? Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm really, let me look. God, I know let me get my glasses on. It's San Francisco 2. Brock Purdy.
Was I looking at an old,
Yes, you were looking at one that didn't count. Okay. I did. Because it is. I'll show you that one too.
All right.
Because sometimes I write everything down. I go, damn, I don't like that. So I go back and think again. So
okay. So you played me, man. You put your old sheets up there on top just to mess with me.
Well, you know what? It's like you being in school and you're cheating off the guy next to you who's a damn dummy. So you're going to get an F. You got to cheat off the right guy. So you got caught.
I got caught. I
cheated on the dummy.
I did. And
now I got the smart sheet right in front of me here. Here it is.
All right. So we got Brock Purdy number 2. I agree. Brock Purdy is also my number 2 quarterback in the division. Right. Go ahead. What are some of your reasons why?
I'm not a big stat guy, but he has completed 68% of his throws, I think, in his carey.
That's not so bad.
44 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. That's great. Now, look, I know he's the benefit, and everybody's got to say it. Well, he's got Kyle Shanahan, and they got Christian McCaffrey, and they all right. Yeah. So we don't say these things we didn't say this when some other great quarterbacks are having great years with the best skill set of group in the NFL. So why do we just blame that all on Brock Purdy? Whatever. Hey, we know all the things he does well. He anticipates. He moves around better than we think. And it's really hard to pick out something he can play small. He gets engulfed in the pocket at times,
Yes,
which happens to even a lot of big quarterbacks. And I think my complaint before last year was throw it outside the numbers more. I thought they did that this past year. I think Brock Purdy at time, most of the year was very solid to maybe even better. I don't think he played great in the playoffs as like I probably was expecting.
Right.
Was very careful. Of course, the teams are better and all that stuff. But, hey, look, they got to feel good about what he is, how he's come forward year 1 to year 2, and now coming into year 3. I think they'll even put more on his plate because they know who he is for real, and they trust him. Everything you want to feel like with your quarterback, they got it with Brock Purdy. So we'll see if he can keep going forward. If he can, then the 49ers are in great shape to have another great year.
Yeah, they definitely are. And I agree. I got Brock Purdy at 2 as well. And I agree with everything that you just said. I mean, because this guy really has shown, right, why the position of quarterback is so great too, right? And this is a guy that does it in all the ways that, unfortunately for us as evaluators, and even at the combine or whatever, you can't really measure, the will, the heart, right? The competitive nature of these players, right? Just their dedication to their craft, right? The things that he does as far as just being on top of, just schematically what Kyle is doing, right? I think Kyle did a great job too of really changing the identity of his offense to really fit what Brock does well. Kyle in his past, much more under center, play action based, boots, nakeds, deep play action, set him up throws. Now with Brock, really seemed to open it up with Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. Really seemed to kind of spread the field out a little bit more, right? More motions from that shotgun base formation, right? And allow Brock to really just be a great point guard, make great decisions, know what the defense is doing, and really put pressure on the defense that way. And I think Brock does a great job of being just that ultimate point guard. And yeah, he's number 2 for me on the list for the same reasons that you said. There are at times where just like, yeah, I think that he does get bodied a little bit, in the pocket where he can't just really overpower the game as a thrower that way. But his scrambling and his ability to make plays outside the pocket are something that we haven't seen in San Francisco, right, to that same extent. So I think he brings another aspect to the offense that really has never been there in Kyle's history. And I think that's where he gets another leg up on, that narrative that we discuss. For whatever reason, everyone was so upset that he was potentially an MVP candidate because of who he was. Meanwhile, we had no problem with Kurt Warner, winning the MVP and being almost in a very similar storyline in a lot of ways. So, we pick and choose, I guess, our heroes and villains. And for whatever reason, Brock was one of those guys that he was either a hero or a villain in everybody's story in the media.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of people couldn't wait for him to turn into the villain, I guess you want to say. But look, there's things you can't judge. Yeah. One, when you judge quarterbacks, you like to see size, strength, all these things we always talk about.
Right.
But, you don't judge. I can't remember, I didn't really study Brock Purdy coming out. But, we don't put anything big on the fact, well, he really anticipates well. He does these other things that we just don't talk about enough with quarterbacks. And there's so much to it. And so much of it has to do with coaches and the people around you.
Right.
But, some of those skills that he acquired because of who he is at all levels of high school and college, and he's put them into pros, has turned out to be really a great thing for him. Yeah. And he's number 2 in the NFC West.
And also, too, just we can't predict leadership,
that's right. It's hard.
I think this list, too, is a great example of just like, hey, Kyler Murray's not as great of a leader as a Geno Smith in my eyes, right? I think Brock Purdy, he is a tremendous leader, right, of this football team that truly believes him. You hear the way that people talk about him within the building, and that to me is very powerful too, despite whatever he may lack physically or the look that people are looking for compared to other great quarterbacks in the NFL. The leadership qualities, I feel like, outweigh a lot of that stuff, and that's hard for us to really put a metric to it, right? And so let's go now, right, to our number one quarterback, which You duped me, man. You switched up your list on me, but it's okay. I'll forgive you. I still love you, Philly.
It's
number
not the first
one.
time I pulled the wool over your eyes, so it's okay. All right.
All right.
Well,
So
number one.
one. Yep.
Well, Matt Stafford. Listen, the story today was Matt Stafford on the radio up here in New York, and I just heard it on the national radio show.
Yeah.
As I went to the doctor this morning, I was coming back, and they're talking about his wife. But I'm not even going to get into it. I'm like, damn, why would you go down that road? I don't know, but whatever. Matt Stafford. Look, the Super Bowl, the team kind of falls apart. And watching them last year, Matt, I mean, when you look at stats too, it just shows you how much they lie about players, teams, especially quarterbacks.
Yeah, so what is it about his stats?
Well, he only completed 62%, so he must be inaccurate.
Right.
Because, I look at the numbers. Oh, my God, I had to hear the guy talk about numbers today with Trevor Lawrence. This touch. Oh, God, it drives me crazy.
All right, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. But, yeah, I mean, you look at his numbers, you go, well, I don't know. It's not that great. Let me see. 24 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Way too many interceptions compared to the touchdowns.
Yeah.
But my point being this, I'm such a jerk and so sarcastic all the time. But when you watch him play, he's good for what, man? I'm just going to put a number on it. He's good for 5 throws in a game almost every single week.
Yeah.
That I don't know if any other quarterback in football, any other one, and that includes Patrick Mahomes and Lamar and you name them, all of them, they couldn't make them. I mean, He can drop sidearm facing down the field and throw an 18-yard out route to a receiver and put it with power and accuracy.
Yeah.
I mean, what game was I watching when they were playing last year? Detroit and the Rams. I mean, some of those throws in that game were incredible.
Yeah. And
I don't know what else to say about him. Yeah, they got a good receiving core now, but he helps them out too. And
no doubt.
Sean McVay it's like he went to LA and was reborn. It fell apart, let's say, but now I feel like he's reborn again. And Matt Stafford, hey, he should ask for another couple years on that contract because that arm's never going to die.
Yeah.
And the last thing is to say he's tough. That's not a good word. No. It's much better than that.
Yeah.
He's a toughest SO. He might be the toughest quarterback in the NFL. He can take hits and still make great throws, and he doesn't get shy in the pocket. And, sometimes I watch their games. I go, well, throw it,
yeah.
And just gets plastered and still makes the throws. So can't say enough good things about him. I'm glad about this. I used to argue about Matt Stafford constantly.
Me too.
Everything. And now, Matt Stafford's great. What took you 10 years to ever figure this out?
Well, this was one of those things where just like, he never won any big games in Detroit when he was there. And, he's the example too of a little bit of like a Kirk Cousins to me. Now, Matt Stafford to me, Kurt's great, but like Kirk's good, but Matthew is great, right? He really is. Like Matthew to me is like a Hall of Fame quarterback to me.
Yeah.
And, when we talk about his time period in Detroit, well, they didn't win any playoff games. He had Calvin Johnson, this, that, all these weak excuses. I'm like, if Matt Stafford's not on the team, they're probably not even going to make the playoffs in general. So, and also too, we never even had those moments where we thought that, they're a team that should go and win the Super Bowl. It was more so like, Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson have literally just willed this team into a wild card round, and they're just that good at their own positions that they have basically carried this entire football team single-handedly. So
no doubt.
Even with Sean McVay, that angle I think is interesting too. I think Sean McVay went from like, I'm going to retire, become a broadcaster, and then he got Matt Stafford. And he's like, I'll hang around a little longer because it's pretty fun to coach a guy like this who's this talented, right? And there's also just that hungry to continue to get better. When you hear about those breakfast clubs, the toughness that he has, his football IQ and experience. This is a guy that's been doing it at a super high level for a very long time. I used to always get upset with Christopher too, my brother, your son, right, for his QB list, because sometimes he'd have Russell Wilson like in the top like 5 or 6 early on there. And I'm just like, how is Matt Stafford, that much far below Russell Wilson when he does more with less, So we do fall in this trap occasionally because of the surrounding cast. But it is nice to see now Matthew Stafford, the talent that he is, right? The leader, the quality of plays that he can make on the field, now matched with, a great coach, really good skill group. And I'm really excited too, because I think the Kyron Williams, Blake Corum backfield now
changed everything.
Ooh, man, they're gonna be some tough SOBs running downhill to go along with that play action passing game to get Puka and Cooper down the field, to hopefully continue to get Tyler Higbee involved in that passing attack as well. So I think it's good days right now for the Rams, and Matt Stafford to me is clearly number one in the NFC West right now for me.
Well, let me say this. Matt Stafford reinvigorated Sean McVay.
Yeah, right.
And, Sean McVay, I know there's a down period, had a really rough year a couple years ago. But, this past year, the offense changed. I think it even fits Matthew Stafford even more.
Right.
And Matthew Stafford didn't let him down. And, the coach is motivated. They were really close. I mean, you think about it, they lost some close games. They lost a tough game in the playoffs up in Detroit. So many chances to win that. And probably the one team that San Francisco didn't want to see in that championship game,
no doubt,
would have been the Rams, because the Rams just don't want to play.
And Sean's kind of got like Kyle's number that way too. He kind of knows how to slow down his offense and pick apart his defenses in that history. And you're right. This is, the Rams losing a tough one, the Bucks losing a tough one to Detroit. I think this NFC it's kind of creeping up where like there's a few teams here. It's not just the Eagles and the Niners, right? And then maybe a little bit of the Cowboys. I think there's a few teams really here that can make that next jump up. And it's partly because of some of the quarterbacks that we've been talking about, and Matthew Stafford obviously being, one of the main ones.
Well, here's what I took out of this whole segment, the NFC West, is the fact that you called your brother an idiot and he didn't rank the quarterbacks right. So
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
You did. You just
did I? Did I drop the I word? I hope.
No, you didn't. You didn't. I just threw it in there. I was
always just disappointed that I thought he always gave Russell way too much credit in Seattle, right? And I feel like it just, Matthew Stafford's one of those guys that I was always a fan. Even at Georgia, I was a fan of him and his ability,
me too.
With AJ Green. And I just always thought that he was so underappreciated for what he was doing. And, now I love kind of being that guy like, I told you so, even though no one really remembered that I said it anyway.
No, that's all right. Wait till I call your brother and tell him what you said. So that'd be all right.
That's all right. He'll just say that Matt's an a-hole and move on.
Okay. All right. Well, good job. NFC West down. It's done. We got that.
You did it, Phil. You did it.
It only took me 2 tries. The first try. If I see this on the internet somewhere, I'm going to get you.
No, man, we won't. Trust me.
All right.
We'll delete it.
That was really bad.
That was not your best moment out here. That's all right. We love you. All right. That's all for the NFC West. We'll be back with more. See you later. Check us out. YouTube, Instagram, Phil Sims, Matt Sims, Sims Complete. We're out. See ya. Toodles.